Namaste everyone. Welcome to this yoga practice with me, Tracy, and welcome all over 60s readers. Nice to have you along. What we're going to do today is look at some practices from traditional yoga for looking after your balance. So the first thing you need to think about is how you're going to feel when you're doing this. Now, there's one word of advice I want to give you, is that a relaxed state of confusion is the best way to learn anything new. So if you feel like you're not doing it right, and please don't judge yourself or make yourself feel bad. It's just a matter of practice. The second thing to think about is to always make sure that you're comfortable. If you do anything that's uncomfortable, especially anything that hurts, then please let it go straight away. Try to remain comfortable throughout this practice today. So the first thing to think about is your chair. Make sure you've got a good sturdy chair, something that's not going to move. You can have yourself turning towards the chair and have both hands firmly holding onto it. Or if you're feeling okay, you can have one hand on the chair. So just choose what would be the best placement of your hands today to look after your balance. And take our feet about hip width apart. See if you can line up your ankles and your knees and your hips all in one straight line. And then try to draw your navel in and roll your shoulders back and down. So the job of your abdominal muscles is to stabilize your body, so try to make use of those. So the first thing we're going to do is to try and find our center of balance. So hanging onto the chair, begin to let your body move from side to side. And just waver it from side to side. And then begin to take your body around in a circle and let yourself go one way and then let yourself go around in the other direction and feel what's happening in the soles of your feet. And now bring yourself into what feels like your center of balance. So if you're leaning into your toes, then try and bring yourself back into the center. And if you're leaning back into your heels, again, just try and make yourself feel really comfortable. You're in the middle of your feet. And now we're going to breathe in and lift your heels off the floor and come right up onto your toes. And only come up as far as is comfortable for you. And see how that feels. If you need to have both hands on the chair, feel free to change the posture at any time. And then exhale, lower your heels down very slowly. Breathing in, lift the heels up. And as you exhale, lower them down. This time we're going to lean back and lift your toes off the floor. And breathe in, come onto the toes, lift the heels up. So just moving through this a couple of times, and we're just getting our feel for balance, learning again where our center of gravity is. So once more, lean back into your heels and lift your toes up. And then as you inhale, lift your heels off the floor and then slowly lower them down. So we're going to go into the standing star posture now. So hang on to the chair and then pick up your left foot and place your left toes onto the floor. Now, if this is your first time, you might just like to place your left hand on your hip and keep it here. This is a perfectly good place to balance. If you feel like you're comfortable and you'd like to go further, just lean into your right foot and take your left toes off the floor, just 1 or 2 inches. So what's happening is you're strengthening now your right leg. Anytime we weight bear, we're telling the brain we need stronger muscles and stronger bones. Now again, if you'd like to go further, you can lift your left arm up beside your head and gently lean over to the right and come into the standing star. And then slowly on your next exhalation, relax your hand and your foot down. And we'll go to the other side. So take your right toes now and take them out to the right. And again, you can stay here, you can keep your right toes on the floor. Or if you're feeling comfortable now, you can lift your right toes off the floor, just 1 or 2 inches. And again, if you'd like to go further, you can take your right hand off the chair and bring it up beside your head. So now if you were going to do that with the chair, of course, you want to have it in front of you. And when you go to one side, it's going to look like this. And then possibly to there, once you've been practicing for a little while, if you feel comfortable. And then slowly lower it down. And in your own time, using your inhalation, lift your right leg and lift your right arm. And you can simply practice this every day. So now we're going to change that a little bit, and we're just going to challenge our balance. So what we're trying to do now is to get both sides of the brain cooperating. We're going to use the opposite hand and the opposite foot. So bring your hands onto the back of the chair. And as you breathe in, simply lift your right foot up and then lift your left arm. So we're immediately working on coordination and stability and better balance. And then slowly lower your hand and your foot down to the floor. Moving to the other side, bend your left knee, lift your left foot, and lift your right fingertips up towards the ceiling and reach up. And then just gently in your own time, with your own breath, go once more to each side, being mindful that you are completely supported, you're holding onto the chair. And then once more, lifting the right arm and the left leg and reaching up. And then slowly lowering down. So now we're going to include the inner ear in our balance. And so what I'm going to ask you to do is to come up and balance and then turn your head to each side. So just be careful that you only go as far as is comfortable for you today. So start by looking down at your feet and place your feet underneath your hips. Draw your navel in, roll your shoulders back and down, and now bring your fingertips onto the back of your chair. As you breathe in, we'll do that practice once more. You lift your heels off the floor and come up onto your toes. And then turn your head and look to the right as much as you can. So right away your inner ear is starting to get involved in your balance. If you'd like to go further, lift your left arm out to the left while you look to the right. And again, you can stay here. If you feel like you've got your balance and you'd like to go further, you can lift your right arm out to the right and look along that right middle finger. And then exhale, slowly release the hands and the heels to the floor. Well done, well done. So let's go to the other side. So bring your fingertips back to the back of the chair and just look down at your feet and check that they're underneath your hips and give yourself a good platform to balance on. As you breathe in, lift your heels off the floor, come right up onto your toes. And this time as you exhale, turn your head and look to the left. Now again, you can stay here. If you're feeling like you're getting better, you've been practicing for a while, lift your right arm up as you continue to look to the left. And then possibly lift your left hand up as well as you stay up on your toes. And with your next exhalation, slowly coming down. So you can see we're working through this progressively. So you might want to stay with the first practice, do that for a week, include the second practice the second week, and then maybe come to this final third practice in your third week. And I hope that I've given you something you can do every day. So I'd like to leave you with something really simple that you can do at home every day. So if you're waiting for the kettle to boil or you're brushing your teeth, just hold on to the countertop and bend both knees just a little bit. So if you were to look down, you could still see your big toes. And just lift one foot off the floor. Just lift your left foot or your right foot. Your right knee is bent, so the muscles are working, the bones are getting strengthened. And brush your teeth, make your cup of tea. And just remember, maybe count how many breaths you've had, and then change it. And then go to the other side, bending both knees. Lift your other foot off the floor, and stay here for the same number of breaths. Now this is an excellent practice for osteoporosis prevention because we're strengthening. We're using the weight of our own body to strengthen our muscles and to strengthen our legs. So bring your foot back to the center now. And we're just going to do something very relaxing. Place your hands onto your hips and just begin to hula hoop. So quite a nice one just to release your lower back and all the muscles in the joints that we've just been working. And go a few times in one direction and pause. And then slowly come back to the center and begin to take yourself around in the other direction. And that's the end of our practice. Thank you very much for joining me today. Namaste.